As indicated in our last episode, this episode has been put together as a continuation of our last episode so that we may continue answering your pertinent questions. Karibuni sana to this episode of Cousin Laws, and as always, I'll be your host, Wakili Cedric Magotsi. Kuna jamaa anaitwa mzee wa kazi. Anauliza he does not understand why traffic offenses are criminal offenses. I'll break down this kidogo ndo nikuwe as brief as possible. We have what is known as the Criminal Procedure Code in Kenya. Criminal Procedure Code ina deal na uvunjaji wa sheria. If you break laws, you find yourself entangled with the Criminal Procedure Code in Kenya. Now, the Criminal Procedure Code specifies ama ina break down the types of crimes that happen in Kenya. There are major crimes, there are misdemeanors, then kuna kama murders, hizo zote. So kutakuwa na hizo vipengele za crimes. Hizi za major crimes, hizi za misdemeanor. Yes. Then kuna zile crimes ambazo zinaitwa strict liability crimes. Strict liability crimes. And most traffic offenses are strict liability offenses. What do I mean by strict liability offenses? Strict liability offenses ni zile offense ambazo I don't need a second person to explain this specific offense to me. Ama I don't need another person to collaborate this offense. Zinajieleza kivyao. Ukiangalia offense kama stealing, lazima kukuwe na kitu imeibiwa, kukuwe na ule ambaye ameibiwa. We have those other parties that come together to make this offense of stealing. But a traffic offense is a strict liability in essence ya kwamba kama speed limit ni 60. Ukipitisha 60, I don't need any other person akuja niambie huyu jamaa amepitisha speed limit ya 60. Ni kupima tu na speed gun. Speed gun ikionyesha nime exceed the speed limit of 60, that in itself is a strict liability offense. Pale kwa estates unaonanga driving speeds umeandikiwa 5 kilometers per hour. If you exceed this 5 kilometers per hour, na for example ugonge mtoto ama ugonge pet ya mtu, that in itself is a strict liability. Umeexceed your 5 kilometers per hour, whether kuna mtu ameumizwa or not. In fact, that is the question. That is the proper explanation. Strict liability offenses hazijalishi kama kuna mtu ameumia ama hajaumia. Unlike these other offenses, other criminal offenses, lazima kukuwe na yule complainant. For traffic acts ama for strict liability offenses, si lazima kukuwe na complainant ama kukuwe na victim. Sheria inasema this road you do the maximum speed is 60 kilometers per hour. You exceed 60 kilometers per hour, utakuwa umevunja hiyo sheria. Si lazima kukuwe na mlalamishi. Sheria inasema kwa estate you're supposed to drive at a maximum speed of 5 kilometers per hour. Whether someone is injured or not, ukiexceed your 5 kilometers per hour, it is a strict liability offense na unafaa ulipe fine. So traffic acts ina fall under that specific category of offenses under the criminal laws of Kenya. Hizo ni strict liability offenses, and that's why sasa traffic acts pia zinatritiwa kama criminal offenses, because kuna different types of criminal offenses. So kuna major crimes, kuna misdemeanors, then kuna strict liability offenses. Sawa, strict liability offenses si lazima kukuwe na complainant ama victim ndio ushtakiwe. You break the speed limit, unashtakiwa. You have an unroadworthy vehicle, unashtakiwa. Ujabeba license, unashtakiwa. You don't need to have mtu victim ama mtu amejeruhiwa ndio ushtakiwe. As long as you don't comply with these laws, you'll be arrested and you are arraigned in court. Hapo sawa? And that's the reason why traffic acts zina fall under the criminal act ama they are treated as crimes in our laws of Kenya. Iko jamaa anaitwa Kevin Ouma anauliza, what is the purpose of registering vehicles on TIMS? TIMS basically is an application under the NTSA. TIMS ni ya ensure possession is being transferred from one person to the other. TIMS is also to ensure that ownership of this specific vehicle is being transferred from one party to the other. Possession ni nini? Possession ni ile na kupea gari, kama umenunua hiyo na kupea gari ende nayo. Ownership ni ile na transfer, sasa the documentation, logbook ya gari na transfer from me to you. So TIMS is the platform created by NTSA to ensure that this ownership process is transferred smoothly, and it's also there to ensure that the government collects revenues. Iko jamaa anaitwa GW77 anauliza, how do you identify from ile sheria tulisoma, how do you identify these persons who can get into your private car? Vile tulivyosema, it's either a police officer, a uniformed police officer, licensed personnel na inspector wanaweza ingia kwa gari yako. Hivyo ndio sheria inasema, nothing further from that. Every uniformed police officer anakuanga na police number yake hapo, so you can easily identify a police officer. Inspector pia vile akona namba yake hapo, police number hapo, so that person can easily be identified. On the issue of licensed persons, hapo I think it's a bit vague, because naweza toa badge na niseme mimi na work NTSA, but again proving that this badge ni ya mtu wa NTSA, it becomes a huge task. Kama unashuku these people who have stopped you are not actually police officers, vile naweza kuadvise, unaweza, kama unashuku they are not officers ama they are not licensed officers, the only thing you can do, and this is my advice, just drive off to the nearest police station na useme these guys tried to identify themselves, but vile mimi niliona wase ama watu, they are not genuine people. So I'm here, the police officer, I'm here at the police station, I'm here to report this incident, that I was stopped by this licensed personnel. I didn't feel safe. The way they identified themselves, it didn't feel natural, I didn't feel genuine. Another question. Iko jamaa anaitwa Robert Omete. Ameuliza swali mzuri sana. The officer getting into your car and driving it, should he or she also be having a valid driving license? I think that is one of the most important questions tumeona hapa. Sheria inasema polisi yako na uniform ama inspector ama licensed person, but ijasema kama huyu jamaa pia inafaa kuwa na valid license. I think Robert inafaa tutafute, we can do a petition pale High Court ku challenge the legality of this traffic act. Juu kama huyu police officer yeye mwenyewe hana a valid driving license, how can he or she then commandeer my vehicle? It becomes an issue. We cannot break two laws so that we can make something right. If this police officer, because the law is number, sheria isemi kitu kuhusu kama huyu jamaa, huyu inspector ama this licensed officer ama this uniformed officer lazima akuwe na driving license. Because if this police officer does not have a valid driving license, then he or she should not ama cannot commandeer my vehicle to the nearest police station. So I think hapo act kidogo imetuchenga na imetuangusha, kwa sababu haijasema this officer who is commandeering my vehicle whether he or she needs to have a valid driving license. So I think hapo kuna vagueness of the act. Sawa. Kuna Arodi anauliza, does the same law requiring police officer entering your vehicle also apply to city traffic officer? Sheria iko clear. Hakuna mahali imeandikwa city traffic ati askari wa city council wataingia kwa gari yako. Hakuna mahali imeprovidiwa for that. So na tumeona these incidences again and again and again. Sheria haijasema traffic ama city traffic ama county traffic officer anafaa aingie kwa gari yako. The maximum ama the most they can do is just to clamp your vehicle, then kuandikia receipt, wewe ujue venye utadeal now from there. But hakuna mahali sheria inasema county officials ama county traffic officer ama county traffic commandant wa city council inafaa aingie kwa gari yako. That will be illegal. We do hope that all or most of your questions have been answered in our 2 episodes of questions and answers. However, don't stop posting, don't stop asking questions. You can always reach out to us and we endeavor to get back to you. Thank you sana for joining us on this episode of Cars and Laws. As always, I have been your host, Wakili Cedric Magotsi. Karibuni sana.